So you can go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are. Welcome to today's session on transactional data reporting, otherwise known as TDR. Today, our focus is going to be on highly configurable products and the Cloud SIN. Our goal is to equip you with the tools necessary to confidently comply with the TDR reporting requirements. We want to meet you where you are, and we want to work with you through this process, as I know that is a significant change for you. If your mass contracts includes any highly configurable products or Cloud SIN, this training will hopefully be very helpful for you. My name is Paula Hans. I'm a procurement analyst with the General Supplies and Services in GSA. And I have here with me today, Jenna Piper, who is a branch chief in the information technology category. So thank you for letting us join today. And without further ado, we will move on. If I can get it to change. There we go. Okay. So it's a big day today. We're going to get started with a big agenda, and we'll try to get through everything for you. And I will try to speak slowly. Sometimes I do get rather fast, so I will try to keep it slow and get you through this. So we're going to start out with an basic overview of TDR. Most of you have probably heard of it before or attended the July 17th meeting and learned more about it. We are going to discuss why GSA uses TDR. We're going to go over some general requirements and the special grace period that we're going to introduce to you for new entrants into TDR. We're going to address the various TDR categories, category-specific reporting rules and requirements, the process of entering into TDR via the participate in TDR modification, and the effective date of the reporting and when you'll need to start your reportings. And then lastly, we'll go over some vendor resources that are available to you and some tools that you can use so that you can have the resources necessary to comply with TDR requirements. On to the next slide. So why does GSA enter into TDR? With TDR, GSA collects actual line item level data and prices paid data. This supports data-driven buying decisions. It benefits our taxpayers, industry, and government as we're moving towards horizontal price analysis and data-driven past price paid price analysis via and not the vertical, just looking at a contractor compared to their most favorite customer. It also reduces overhead and supply chain costs and enables fair and reasonable price analysis as well as managing risk management. So TDR fundamentally shifts GSA's pricing approach. Previously, we did a vertical approach, which is what we looked at whatever the vendor's price was compared to their most favorite customer. We required CSP, we established a base of award customer category, we had to maintain a discount relationship for the entire contract. And TDR goes to more horizontal prices paid, horizontal price analysis, which includes prices paid data and also comparison with other competitors in the market. It enhances competition through pricing transparency, and it also reduces the burden of providing that commercial sales practice information. It helps us to identify fair and reasonable pricing trends on a horizontal price analysis basis. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Greg Rollins real quick because he's going to go over how GSA plans to use the data and how the data will be made available.
Thanks, Paula. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Greg Rollins. If we didn't speak on the 17th, you weren't an attendee at that one. I'm the FAST TDR program manager. I wanted to hop on and just address this one slide because we've gotten a number of questions around the use of TDR data. And Paula, you did a great job teeing up how GSA will use the TDR data that we receive. And there's a number of use cases that we envision. Those range from topics like demand management, which really we're talking about trend analysis and looking at data in the aggregate government-wide to see how the government buys. Category management, a very similar concept where we're looking at groupings of common items and if there are opportunities for us to buy smarter. We may use it for market research, for price analysis. We've seen a number of use cases around supply chain analysis and supply chain risk management. So there really are a number of uses for the data, and those are going to continue to grow. That being said, I know from an industry perspective, folks have asked the question about GSA safeguards, and GSA will safeguard your data. It is protected as trade secrets, and we hold that data, very close hold in terms of who has access to it. In terms of some of our use cases where we've shared information back with industry, and I know we've talked about those previously as well, I want to just make sure you're aware that only aggregate data, anonymized data, which doesn't include identifiable information, will be shared publicly, and that certainly is, our ongoing commitment as we continue to progress along the maturity curve of how we use TDR data. So I just wanted to address that one up front and let folks know. And, I'm going to stop rambling and pass the ball back to Paula, who, from what we heard on the 17th, Paula and Jen are who you really want to hear from. So over to you guys.
Thanks so much, Greg, for giving that overview. So with TDR, there are 16 data elements that are reported. 12 are required for reporting each month, and 4 are optional. So we report this via the FAS sales reporting portal. I'm sure you've all heard of FAS SRP many a time over, and you probably are already in it if you're in non-TDR in some way. But now you're going to be using it to report your TDR data. So there's basically 4 groupings that these data elements fall under. We've got item information, buyer information, contract information, and purchase information. So the item information includes SIN, deliverable description, manufacturer name, part number, unit of measure, UPC, if available. Notice the if available. And then we have the buyer information. Federal is actually not mandatory. Non-federal is mandatory. So non-federal is one of those approved sources, such as like state and local governments, if there's cooperative purchasing or disaster recovery might be a situation. So that's what a non-federal customer might be. 3, contract information is the contract or BPA number, and your task or delivery order number, or PID is what is also referred to. And then you're going to put your purchase order information in it. So quantity sold, price per unit, total price, order date, which is not mandatory. So these things that are double asterisks are not mandatory, ship date, and then destination zip. And if you're wondering if it's going to be mandatory in the future, that is to be determined. And if it is mandatory, we will absolutely let you know. One thing that we want to point out is that data accuracy is absolutely critical when reporting for TDR. Incorrect entries may delay acceptance of your reports. So that is something that we just wanted to hone in on. But luckily, yay, we will have a grace period. So if you begin your participation in TDR effective 10/1/25, new entrants will be given a 6-month grace period. As we've said in previous trainings, and as we're saying today, we are trying to meet you where you are. We realize there might have to be some system updates, some different things that will need to take place before it can actually be fully implemented. So there's going to be a grace period. You still will need to be reporting monthly, but we're not going to be tracking for compliance, errors. It won't result in rejection, that sort of thing. So in this 6-month grace period, this is your time to get your systems up and running and get them to a place where you are going to be compliant. During this grace period, contractors are expected to upload supporting documents if required. The submissions will not cause, lack of submissions will not cause rejection if they're like missing attachments or some things like that. The validation errors, if you receive them, will not be enforced until the end of that grace period. The grace period ends March 31st. And at the beginning of the second reporting quarter, it will start up again on April 1st, 2026. So the goal of this is, again, to meet you where you are during this transaction. Requirements may evolve over time and they may change. We are seeking industry feedback. We are meeting with people. We want to hear from you because we do want this process to align with commercial practice to the maximum extent possible. So.
And hey, Paula, I'm just going to chime in for 1 second to foot stomp this one, because the concept of the grace period and what we're hearing here is based on the feedback we've heard from you guys. As we talked about on the 17th, when folks have been reaching out, we've been having conversations. We've been talking to a number of industry partners around this process, and this is one of the pieces that we heard, that this would be of value to you. So I just wanted to say this is something that you all highlighted, and we think hopefully demonstrates our willingness to continue to listen and continue to evolve.
Thank you, Greg. That was really helpful. So now we're going to go over our different TDR categories. As you know, not everything is just a simple product, easy to report. We've got various categories. So we've got your non-configurable products. This includes base products only. They're available on Advantage. A customer can go in and buy them today, no problem only, or products with options or accessories. So basically, if the item is available on Advantage and it doesn't involve a customer interaction where you have to talk to them before they can make the purchase because of the configurations or whatever, that is considered a non-configurable product for reporting purposes. And then we have the highly configurable products. Those typically cannot be sold directly via GSA Advantage because they are so complex that it will require direct customer interaction. And then we've got the Cloud SIN, which Jenna is going to speak to in a few minutes. We also have configurable services that are other than the Cloud SIN, professional services, and SCA, SCLS services. Now, why highly configurable products and Cloud SIN are in white is because that is our focus today. And the configurable services and professional services, SCA, SCLS services, will be discussed on separate trainings, but this is applicable for highly configurable products. Cloud SIN now, TDR is mandatory now, so that's why we are really focusing on this one today. With supporting attachment requirements, so you've heard some of those, and we'll go into more detail later, but with highly configurable products, there's going to be supporting documents that are required, which will be your bill of materials or your invoice or some other supporting document showing a breakdown of what was supplied. And it depends on the path you choose. So there's 2 paths, which we'll discuss later. And if you choose path A, then that's when the attachments are required. Then we have the configurable service orders and other than the Cloud SIN that require it. Cloud SIN also requires the supporting attachments. And then the professional services and SCA, SCLS services require these supporting attachments, which we will go into further. So those are our various categories in summary. To have, and based upon the category, you may have to report in different ways. So, like I said, the 2 focus categories of today are highly configurable products and the Cloud SIN. So highly configurable products are typically very complex in nature. They're customizable. They're not easily captured in like a single catalog listing. Like I said, you can't go into GSA Advantage and just purchase them off of GSA Advantage directly. It requires customer and contractor interaction before that they can be purchased, like modular furniture. And we've got the Cloud SIN, and this is cloud computing solutions and related professional services. So there might actually be professional services included in that as well. Okay, so now, before we get into the weeds of the highly configurable products, I did want to briefly go over non-configurable products so that you all had a better grasp of what we're talking about with non-configurable products. So these are typically standard products that don't have a lot of variation. So they can also be products with options. I realize those are somewhat configurable, but they don't meet that highly configurable test. Again, they're usually available on Advantage. And you can just kind of smirking, just go in there, purchase the item or the item with the options directly from Advantage with no interaction with the contractor. The reporting tools, so typically those will be provided on a price proposal template if you're not an FCP, or a product file if you are in the Fast Catalog platform. And sometimes in unique circumstances, there might be the Services Plus file, which is a fast catalog platform attachment, which I know many of you are not there yet, but you will be soon. So these are the products that are easy to purchase, basically. The reporting requirements of these has a very specific requirements, and they've actually been in place for quite some time. And we've actually added a reporting element for options and it's going to be included in the updated user guide that's going to be coming out, where the manufacturer part number, you have to report the base part number, and then you put your option part number in parentheses. And then the manufacturer, you list your base manufacturer and your option manufacturer in parentheses. Note, if your product is not highly configurable, then it will be considered non-configurable for reporting purposes. So if it doesn't fall under the definition of highly configurable, then it's considered non-configurable. Okay, next slide. Next, we get into the fun category, our highly configurable products. These are so unique and they have such different characteristics depending on what the customer desires, that they cannot be sold directly via Advantage due to the complexity. It often involves parametric pricing or variable configurations. So these can't have the same reporting requirements as a typical product or product with options because of the uniqueness of the items. So today, the moment everyone has been waiting for, we're going to go over the TDR requirements for highly configurable products. These two methods that we've come up with, Path A and Path B, are directly based upon industry feedback. So originally we just had one path and we spoke with industry, we heard industry, and we added a separate way to this. So hopefully one of these two methods will meet your needs and you will be able to report one of these methods. So the Path A is by manufacturer, product line, or family that you'll be reporting orders. And then Part B is that you'll report each base configuration manufacturer part number, which will go into in more detail coming up. So some examples of the highly configurable would be like modular furniture and workstations, demountable walls, or custom configured IT hardware or software solutions that have significant configurations. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jenna to talk about the Cloud SIN.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Piper again, working for the IT category, Cloud Solutions branch. So for the Cloud SIN, it covers the full spectrum of cloud computing, infrastructure, platform, and software as a service, along with newer areas like AI, machine learning delivered through the cloud. It's not just about the technology. This SIN also includes the professional services needed to make that technology work for the agencies. Things like migration planning, application development, security governance, and day-to-day management of cloud resources. If it's related to cloud, then it can be put into the Cloud SIN. In TDR reporting, cloud transactions have their own rules for how you identify the service type, you need to measure, and part numbers. We'll get into some of those details in the next slide. These nuances help GSA differentiate between product-based, service-based cloud transactions. It's just some further examples of Cloud SIN related products and services, software as a service, such as government agencies subscribing to a cloud-based customer relations management platform, infrastructure as a service, such as agency procuring virtual servers and storage from a cloud provider to host its applications. Platform as a service could be a development team using a cloud platform to build, deploy, manage customer applications. And there are also the cloud-related services such as cloud migration or cloud security engineers helping an agency manage and enhance its cloud security posture. So that is all within the realm of the Cloud SIN for TDR reporting. Okay, we can go to the next slide.
Thank you, Jenna. So we're going to go a little bit over the category-specific requirements and timeline. Reporting rules start October 1st, 2025. So both highly configurable products and Cloud SIN will require the monthly reporting if your TDR participation in MOD has been approved by September 30th, 2025. The end of the first reporting period will be October 2025, October 31st. But you don't actually have to submit your report until November 30th, 2025. So November 30th, 2025 is a deadline for that first reporting period. We do have our lovely little grace period that I mentioned earlier. So we are not going to be following up with validation errors. They're not going to be enforced prior to that April 1st, 2026 date. You do still have to submit your supporting documentation if required. And there is a way to do that. And we have the SRP user guide that we have at the end of the slide deck that we're sharing with you. But we also just have a little brief overview here about how you get your documents uploaded into SRP when you have to do the supporting documents. Starting April 1st, 2026 is when GSA plans to begin tracking compliance. And this is the current time frame based upon what we've set up so far, subject to change, but no earlier than April 1st, 2026, we will begin tracking for compliance for all new entrants into the TDR realm. Okay, so now we're going to go over some of the key reporting elements. So one of the elements required is your description of deliverable. Here's where things get very different for highly configurable products and the Cloud SIN from just your base product. So for highly configurable products, if you are in the FAST catalog platform, you will enter the UCID, which if you're not in it, then you may not even know what that is, but you don't have to submit it if you're not in the FAST catalog platform. Followed by a brief description of the order, so whatever's in that order, and then you would attach a bill of materials, invoice, or other supporting documents. This is for Path A. And Path A is where you are reporting by manufacturer or family of products. So this is when you're not reporting by base part number. And this is the instance where you will be required to submit supporting documentation effective 10/1/25, and then we'll start verifying for compliance April 1st, 2026. Next, we have the highly configurable Path B. In this instance, you would enter the UCID if you're in the FAST catalog platform, followed by that base configuration model description. And you'll put that base description in parentheses. I don't know why I'm doing this, but parentheses, followed by the additional parts that make up that final highly configured product. Actually, a lot of our furniture vendors do put the final SKU, so they can just put the final SKU at the end as opposed to each different part that makes up that highly configured product. So there's a couple of ways even to report under Path B. There is no attachments required for Path B. So only if you're going with Path A is there a need for the attachments. And then Cloud SIN, you have to identify the particular service type. So PaaS, SaaS, or LCAT, if it's a labor category. Jenna, did you have anything else to add to the Cloud SIN description?
No, other than the fact that you're literally using like those choices. We just want to know, is it IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, and if it's a service, put LCAT.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we're going to go to the manufacturer name. So if you're going with Path A, you would enter each manufacturer separately for each order. If it's highly configurable Path B, then you enter the base configuration manufacturer name. And usually, if you're going with Path B, your price proposal template or your Services Plus file will include the base model as your manufacturer part number, and then the manufacturer as the manufacturer name. So that you would report it the same way that you enter it into your price proposal template or your Services Plus file if you're an FCP. And then with Cloud SIN, you'll enter the original equipment manufacturer. And at this time, for labor categories, you'll leave it blank. If that changes, we will let you know, but that is the current instructions for LCATs. Next, we're going to go to the manufacturer part number. So for Path A, you're just going to enter highly configurable because you are going to be required to upload a bill of materials or an invoice that outlines what's included in that order. Highly configurable because there is no one manufacturer part number. There may be a list of manufacturer part numbers involved in that order. So for highly configurable Path A, you'll just put highly configurable and you'll attach your bill of materials. If you're using path B, then you're going to enter your base configuration manufacturer part number, not the full SKU, but that base configuration manufacturer part number. Because remember, in the description is where you would list out that full SKU if that's the way you wanted to report it. For the cloud SIN, you're going to enter the cloud service provider, CSP, not to be confused with the commercial sales practice. Cloud service provider. Part number, if product based, or if it's an LCAT, at this time, we're going to have you leave it blank. Next is for the universal product code. I have gotten a lot of questions on this. It can be left blank if there is no UPC. So don't you worry. If you don't have a UPC code, which you probably won't, you can just go right ahead and leave that blank. For unit of measure. So for highly configurable products under Path A, where you're entering by manufacturer or family group or whatever the case might be, you're just going to enter 10. You might ask, why 10? Well, because 10 in the FAS SRP reporting world means group. And because you might have a list of different items in that order from that manufacturer or that family line, you are just going to enter 10. If it's under Path B, then you're going to enter each EA. And that's typically how people offer that on the PPT. Then for the cloud SIN, you'll just enter that awarded unit of measure, whatever that might be. And you just want to make sure that it's in line with what you have on your price proposal template or your services plus file as applicable. Next, we're going to go into the quantity. So for highly configurable products, you'll report the quantity of items per manufacturer per configured product. For cloud SIN, you'll report as sold. So licenses, gigabytes, subscriptions, etc. And then for hourly labor services that you have maybe under the cloud SIN, you would report by hours HR. The price paid per unit is required for each row, and it must match your awarded unit measure. Obviously, with your if you're going with the Path A, you're not going to necessarily have a unit measure because it's 10 group. So you would just report the price for the entire order or that entire invoice that you submit. I'm sorry. Okay. So then total price paid is quantity by unit price. Upon submission, the system is going to calculate and make sure it's accurate. So it's quantity times unit price. That's just what you need to make sure that you input so that you'll get a proper validation and it will flow smoothly through the process. Okay, I think I missed this. Did I miss a slide? Nope, I didn't. Praise goodness. Okay, and now we're going to talk about how to enter into TDR. Unfortunately, with refresh 28, it was not just like an automatic turn on the button. You actually have to submit a mod to participate in TDR if you have even one TDR eligible SIN. And I know that if you were on the 17th training, you heard this, but I'm going to tell you it again. If you have even one TDR eligible SIN, you need to submit that participation in TDR mod and by September 15th, hopefully, so it can be approved by September 30th. And your entire contract is subject to TDR once you are in TDR. And the effective date will be October 1st, 2025, if you get that mod submitted and approved by no later than September 30th. So the steps to do that is you're going to log in to eOffer eMod, and you're going to select your contract. You're going to choose the modification subtype, participate in TDR. And then you're going to complete the online submission of the request. The only thing we're asking for you is a cover letter with on letterhead with your signature, just stating that you would like to participate in TDR, and the standard statement that no other terms and conditions have changed, and I attest that everything is accurate to the best of my knowledge, or something of this nature. I don't remember the exact words, but the eMod step-by-step guide. If you click on this, it'll take you right on to, if it ever loads, the TDR mod, and it tells you exactly how to do it. Now, if you don't have any TDR eligible SINs, this mod type will not be available to you. So if you go in here and you're trying to participate in TDR and it's not working for you, that's probably because your SIN is not eligible for participation in TDR, but you can always reach out to your COCS if you have a question about that, the whole process in general. Okay. Next slide. So going into the TDR effective dates. So the effective date is always the first day of the next reporting quarter. So if your mod is approved September 30th or before, then it's going to start on October 1st, and you'll be then reporting monthly. If you submit your mod October 25th, 2025, then your reporting effective date will be January 1st, 2026, and so on. This ensures that clean quarterly reporting break. It prevents mid-quarter transitions and just confusions with systems. So that's why we have that effective date on the first day of the next reporting quarter. Contractors must begin their data capturing from the effective date on for monthly reporting. Each report for the monthly reporting is due within 30 days after the month end. So October 31st is when the month ends. November 30th is when your report would be due for that first month. So we do have a lot of vendor resources that are available for any questions, concerns. You can first go to these pages. There's some really great information here. So first of all, we have this Mass Interact page where you can go to learn about any of the updates that might be going on. Here, the file overhaul, the advanced refresh for Mass Refresh 29. If you have not registered for Interact, do so. Join this community because all the information you need is just right here for you. Then we actually have posted the question and answers from the July 17th training, as well as a slide deck. So if you go to here, you'll see the slide deck and the questions. There's about over 300 questions, and it will give you, there's a lot of really good questions and really good answers in here that will really help you, I believe, with the reporting process. So please review these if you have any questions, because it might already be answered in this lovely little deck here. So I just want to show you that. And then we have the slide deck from that July 17th training, and it gives more of an in-depth overview of TDR in general, as well as sales reporting, how to do the sales reporting in an FAS SRP. We also have a TDR webpage on gsa.gov that gives you some good information on TDR. And then we have the vendor support center that you can always go to. It provides a wealth of vendor data for you. And then we have the demand data tool. And this is access to aggregated TDR data for pricing and market research. These currently are for like the non-configurable products. So it's going to look different for highly configurable products or Cloud SIN or configurable services. It's just something that is available if you do sell non-configurable products. And then we have our FAS SRP site. So here's where you go to grab your template. So there's the template, the FAS SRP Excel template. And if there's any help you need, you can go to GSA Online Help. And this guide is really amazing. It goes extensively through the process for uploading your documents, for what's required, depending on the category that you're under. And it is going to be updated soon to address the new requirements for like highly configurable products and the Cloud SIN, etc. So that will be available to you soon. Then we have the eMod step-by-step guidance on how to participate in TDR, which is something that we've already addressed. So I think that is all I have today. Jenna, did you have anything to add, or Greg?
No, I'm good. And our team will help out with any questions that come up as well. Yeah.
And it looks like we do have, Matt, a little time for questions if.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just add, a big thank you, Paul and Jenna for today's session and for you all for attending. We're certainly, continue and just to be committed to providing you all the resources you can. As Paula, said at the beginning, we want to meet you where you are. We want to make this process, as painless as possible. So we're going to continue to work with you guys to listen and to go from there in terms of making this transition. So big thank you to everybody for the engagement and for the time. And then Paula, Jenna, I'll turn it back over to you.
Matt, do we have any questions from today that we might want to go over? Might be.
Hey, Paula. Yeah, there's a few in there, but I'm not sure which ones you'd want to answer or pick out. There's about
Okay,
40.
I'll look at it. I'll pick and choose. Ha, just kidding. Are you sharing your screen? Disregard. Okay. We are FOB origin, and occasionally a GSA customer tells us to include freight in the product class. Do we report the product without the freight? The freight would be open market if it's not awarded under your contract. So you would not be reporting the freight if it were a separate open market purchase, because only mass sales are reported in FAS SRP on your monthly reports. And that is something that was actually asked previously. And it is just your multiple award schedule sales, not open market sales. What if we don't sell parts? So there are someone asked, what if we don't sell parts, but only services? And there are trainings that are happening for services. So I would encourage you to attend those trainings as they're posted to interact, because that's where you'll learn more about those. Okay, we received the email that we are now required to do TDR, but we do not have a cloud or product SIN. We only have services SINs like 541, 715. We did receive an email that we may have been sent the email in error, but that SIN is included when I look it up. I'm confused. If that SIN is included in the lookup table, and I'll just take you there right now so you guys can see it on my screen. Or am I sharing my screen still? Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, never mind. Actually, I'll just share my screen again. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I'm gonna go to GSA Mass, and I'm just going to go to, I probably could do this in an easier manner, but
It appears blacked out. But we saw your browser.
oh, my screen. Oh, it's not working now. Okay, well, let me see. Well, anyways, there's a page for transactional data reporting. And in that table, if you type in that SIN and it says TDR, then you are required to participate in TDR. So it's not just product SIN in the cloud SIN, it's any SIN that is currently under TDR. And there are some services SINs that are under TDR now. So that might be why is that SIN in particular. And I can look at that right now, actually, to see if it is TDR. So it is SIN 541715. Yes.
It is.
Okay, there you go.
It is.
And there you have it. It is TDR eligible. So that would be, you would need to submit your participate in TDR mod. How does this work? How does this work when it is primarily labor? What information will we need to provide? Again, there's going to be some trainings on services, but there's also some information in the user guide specific to services. So hopefully those things can help you. If not, you can definitely reach out, and we would be happy to help you with that. Very much appreciate the grace period. Thank you. Let's see. When will all GSA mass contractors be required to move to TDR? My firm currently does not have any SINs that are TDR eligible. Greg, do you want to speak to that one?
Yeah, I mean, I would say at this juncture, we are continuing down the path of engaging with our services partners and having some dialogue. While we have not set a date as of yet, GSA has previously stated our intent to move everything into TDR within the first quarter of FY26. So that is continuing to be the direction we're moving.
All right, awesome. And then how will we be informed if we're missing any items? I'm not sure what that means, but if you're talking about monthly reports, we'll go over that. I think we'll do some communications in the future, depending on what you sell. But right now, if you have there is a group of contracts that are in the Fast Catalog platform where they receive validation errors via email. And I don't know if Issa's on this call that might be able to speak to different ways that we're informed of missing items from the TDR reporting. He might not be on this call though.
I do not believe so, Paula.
Yeah,
Okay.
Paul, I would add that they would probably hear from their contracting officer or from the
Yeah.
highway.
Yep. Thank you very much. What type of supporting documents? So it depends on what you're reporting, but if it's the highly configurable products, we're looking for like the bill of materials or the invoice that has a breakdown of what's included in that order. So, what highly configurable products are included in that order from that manufacturer. So those are the type of supporting documents that we're looking for. Just to confirm this for all contractors who are non-TDR currently. This is for all contractors who are non-TDR currently. I asked because we just opted in and are waiting our modification to be executed by the CO. So feel free to send us an email, the TDR email that you've submitted your mod. But if the CO approves by September 30th, then you will be in TDR effective October 1st, 2025. And the grace period applies to new entrants. So you would have that grace period as well. So if you have if you're currently on the schedule to participate in TDR, you submitted your mod, then you should be effective on 10/1.
Hey, Paul, I think we have time for maybe one more question. And then,
Okay.
like I said, we're going to capture everything. Make sure we get all of the Q&A out with the recording and the slide deck within a week or so. So yeah, Paul, if you have one more question you want to take, and then we can wrap it up and we can get to work on those Q&A documents.
Okay. Is there a cover letter for opting into the TDR? Yes, there is. So if you, it's actually not a template, but if you go into the external mod guide, it gives you exactly what you need for the opt into TDR. So, and then Paula, are you answering questions from chat or Q&A? I'm answering from the Q&A, but we will submit all the responses to our questions after the training, and we'll be posting those to Interact. Matt, I think that's all I have for now.
Yeah, I'm just going to